Hey everybody. Welcome to the wrap up for the month of July. August is going to be fun. It's going to be a new and interesting month. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. But first, we'll talk about books I read last month. So the one that I'd been working on the most, I was almost done with, was Dragonbone Chair by Tad Williams. Quite a good book. Enjoyed it a lot. You have Simon and Benedict, and I think that's supposed to be. She has one name through half the story and then another name through the other half of the story. Um, I'm assuming she's going to be very important, kind of a love interest for Simon. I will tell you her name when I do a review for this book. It was very, very enjoyable, and I very much liked it. So I will definitely do a review very soon. I'll put it with my books to review pile right here. You can't see it. I can see it. Let's move on. All right, so Mad Ship. Another one that I read. It was not in the order that I read it. Guardian was next, but we're going to jump onto Mad Ship because I saw it and I picked it up. So we're talking about it. I love Paragon. He's like super cool character. A mentally insane ship. And we're really starting to see the pieces come together on why he is the way he is. Why the live ships can do what they can do, what's going on with the serpents, what's going on with the whole mythology of the world is really just coming to a fruition, and it's really starting to make sense. The Vivacia, Kennet, Wintro, Edda scenario is really ramping up. Just the way they're interacting is great. I might do individual reviews on these books because I love them so much. Really, she just wrote one heck of a story in Mad Ship, and I'm really excited next month to move on to the next one. Vivacia is kind of becoming more of a responsible adult. Brashen is becoming a captain. He's really stepping into that leadership role he needed to step into. Wintro is gaining that spine he should have gained. Man, it just, characters are growing and they're moving and they're becoming better. Malta is even becoming better in this story, where I hated her in the first book. Now she's getting a lot better. You're kind of getting to see who she is. You put her in a scenario where she has to grow up instead of just pretending to grow up, and she became somebody who you kind of want to be around. Still a bit manipulative, but a much better person. Love the book. I will do a review, I promise. I'm gushing right now. Finished the James Madison biography. I listened on audiobook to James Madison, Life Reconsidered by Lynn Chaney. It's pretty good, but she pulls heavily from this book, which I use as my reference material. We will be doing a live stream talking about the James Madison presidency on August 12th at 9 p.m. That live stream, if you have read the book, you can join and we can talk back and forth, kind of bounce some questions off one another. Or if you just want to hang out for the live stream, please do. I will try to get that together very, very soon. Also, we're doing a live stream on the Count of Monte Cristo with an Erudite Adventure, both of those guys, brother and sister duo from Alaska. That will be August 7th at 7 p.m. We just hashed out those details today, so get that on the radar. I have to figure out if it's going to be on my channel or their channel. Might let it be on their channel, and I'll just direct all of you to their channel, and I'll join them talking about the Count of Monte Cristo, see if Carlos wants to join us as well. Yeah, Madison live stream, Count of Monte Cristo live stream. Those are both coming up in the very near future, so keep those on your calendar and join us. Please comment, like, subscribe, do all the things YouTube. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so continuing on with the Wool Saga, Shift basically is a prequel. Yeah, 100% a prequel. Follows a couple different characters. I don't want to go into how many different characters, but the really learn the history of the silo. The book starts a few years from now in Atlanta, which I think it's very interesting how much Atlanta has become a part of kind of common culture. I grew up in Florida and then moved here, and then I go into Atlanta every day to work on skyscrapers. keeping people moving up and down. And so for me, it's really interesting to see Atlanta referenced and Atlanta talked about. And so it's cool. You know, we talk about the CDC. I've done some work at the CDC. And, you know, just I love that kind of reference in books, so it made it even more cool. Talk about Savannah, which we visited recently, you know, stuff like that. So I'm going to review all 3 of these together, do a non-spoiler review, and then spoil the 3 of them in a single review very soon in the future, once we finish the 3rd book this month. Next, we have the Song of Susanna, Moving Through the Dark Tower. This is book 6. Coming up to the second, this is the second to last book in the series. Really, it felt like the first part of the Dark Tower, but it was probably too long, and the publisher was like, look, dude, make it 2 books. It'll be fine. We'll make more money. It'll sell. I'm assuming that's what this is. It feels incomplete. Feels like a prologue to the Dark Tower's book, which I'll be reading. I'm pointing at it. You guys can't see that. I don't know why I'm pointing. But it felt like a prologue to the Dark Tower, is really what it felt like to me. It was interesting. We kind of get to learn more about Mia. We get to learn, you know, spend a good bit of time with Susanna, which I love Susanna. She's amazing. Really, they put Eddie and Roland in a scenario where they're not able to go to her, and Jake has to go to her. I'll go into that in my review. I'm going to do that soon. You know, through the whole Dark Tower series, I'll put a link up here to the other books that I've done. Completely spoiler-filled reviews where I'm spoiling them really to get a discussion going. Hasn't happened as much as I want, but reviews are pretty evergreen, so hopefully people will find them and chat with me about what they thought about the Dark Tower series. If you want to do that, again, follow that link. It'll be in the description as well. And just check out that series. I in-depth reviewed all of them up to this point, and we'll do Song of Susanna in the next week or so. And because I just finished it, I need to kind of process a little bit, get some details sorted out in my mind. So another Stephen King book that I got into because my library had it, and I said, ooh, I've been wanting to read that, is Misery. I now know why Stephen King says the scariest thing he ever created on paper is Annie Wilkes. Annie Wilkes makes you go, holy crap, this is scary. But really, it felt like a love story to writing. It felt like Stephen King was kind of giving his thoughts on how much he enjoys writing, because the main character really dives into his craft, uses it as an escape mechanism in the horrible situation that he's in. And then he adds his classic flair of, you know, dark, scary, suspenseful, creepy situations that he's been put in, and makes it that much more of a not action-packed, but suspense-filled story. You're waiting for Annie to snap and do something insane. You're waiting for something that he does to set her off. And I think it's an interesting way to tell a story. There was not much story there, and he, part of the time, was talking about a story that he was writing for her, because she was his #1 fan. So it worked. It really did work, and that's something that I found very interesting and wondered about, would it work? And it sure as heck did. So I enjoyed it quite a bit. Next, we have Guardian. This is the 4th book in the 2nd series of the Lost Fleet. We've been working on it for a while. If you want to join and be part of the discussion, you can. We just did the live stream for it not too long ago. I'll link that as well. We talked about what we liked about the book. They finally go back to old Earth, and we get to see what Earth looks like many years in the future. And I believe the next book is the next book's either the last book or the second to last book. So I'm excited to see what he finishes off with. The next book is Steadfast. I'll talk about that in a moment. but yeah, really enjoying doing these live streams, talking with the guys, and lady. Admiral Star Knight has joined us a few times, and I really, really like the camaraderie where we're reading books together, talking about them through a live scenario, and it's just been a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. Got back and did another writing live stream with Joe on his channel, Unity 151. I'll link him down in the description where you can check him out. He's a great guy. He's like 40,000 words into his first novel, and hopefully that comes out where I can read it and enjoy that with him. Hollow Kingdom is another book I read this month. Been working on it for a minute. Scott from Book Invasion told me about it maybe a year ago. I was going to say a long time ago, but really in the scheme of things, not that long ago. And it's about a sentient crow who is kind of he's the fence sitter between the human world and the animal world. And he is kind of given a task of being the in-between between domestic animals and wild animals as the zombie apocalypse is happening. But he was raised by Big Jim, and Big Jim was an electrician who had a very redneck sense of humor and called humans mofos, and had him hooked on Cheetos. He loved his Cheetos, and just the way that he looked at the world shaped the way that ST looked at the world, and it really was a blast to read. A lot of fun. I've already got the review for that one filmed. Had to do that before I took the book back to the library. And I've got it sitting on the computer. I just need to sit down and edit that video. So hopefully after I get done with this one, maybe, I'm not going to work on it tonight, but sometime in the near future, I will edit that video and get it out so you guys can see that review. And last but certainly not least is the book I read over the last 2 days. Technically, I read this book in August, so I technically have a book done in August, but The Martian by Andy Weir. I already filmed the review on this one too, because I got about halfway on Sunday because I was working a ton of overtime, and it's free on Audible right now. You can listen to it if you have an Audible account. And so I listened about half of it on Sunday because I worked like 15 hours, and so when I was in the car, I was just listening to it, trying to stay awake, and finished listening to it today. Got that done. I had about 4 hours left in it today. But when you listen on 2 times speed, you get through books a little bit faster. And had a blast with it. It was a lot of fun. So I've been meaning to read it for a long time. It was free on Audible, and I said, yep, let's do it. And so not a planned book, but it was read, and I liked it. All right, so books that I'm currently still reading. Monstra by Duncan Swan. He is one of the co-hosts for the self-published science fiction competition. But I wanted to get to know him. I'm reading Hugh Howey's books right now, and the other judge was Duncan Swan, and I'm pretty sure he only has one book out right now, but I started Monstra, and it's the French for monster, because most of the story happens in France. And it's kind of derivative of a single Monstra is kind of, I think that's where the title came from. But it's so far very, very good. I'm right now at a point where I'm rooting for a couple American Marines going on a suicide mission, and I'm really rooting for them. I find myself, the character work was done well enough that I am rooting for a bunch of Marines that are not real, and I like it. I'm very much enjoying how much fun I'm having with the book right now. Another book I'm currently working on is An Echo of Things to Come by James Islington. I'm probably going to have to go audiobook on this one, just because I'm a sucker for buddy reads, and my friends keep coming up with these cool buddy reads that I want to join them in. I want to be part of them. I think Megan from Megan's Reading Revelations is going back into Dune. I might skim through that and kind of talk in the chat on that one. Bunch of other stuff that is going on and coming up. The self-published science fiction competition's coming up. I'm not sure exactly what books I'm going to be reading yet. I think I get 4 in that process. And I'm excited to start reading them when I know what those will be. So I've kind of put that book on a back burner for a long, long time, and I really want to finish reading it. Everything just keeps coming up, and it's a long book, and it's fun, and I might even get the Audible version and start over, just to reacquaint myself with where we are in the world, because man, that story's good, but I keep putting myself in this scenario where I'm not reading. I'm reading what I want to read, but I'm not reading a book that I put for myself that I want to read. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense, but that's kind of where I am with that one. That's the books that I'm currently working on. I don't have anything as an audiobook right now that I'm working on, but I'm about to do Ship of Destiny on audiobook. My library has it where I can snag it real quick, and it will be my first read of the month. Also, my same service, Towers of Sunset, which is the second book in the Magic of Recluse series. Not doing a buddy read on this one, but if anybody wants to join, these books are great. The first couple ones are sort of kind of standalone in the same universe, but they tie into one another. Like, it really makes sense when you read the other books. You're like, oh, well, that's that guy they talked about in history. And sometimes they jump back and forth between the two. Really enjoy the first three books are my favorite, and the other books are good. And it's a series where you have mostly 4 stars, a couple 5s, and a couple 3s. So, and there's a ton of books. So you may go on a run where you get like 2 3s in a row, and you're like, I might stop for a while. But these first 3 to 5 are all 4 to 5 stars. And if you at least do those, you'll really get a grip on what the series is and how much fun it actually is. Wanted to continue with the Legend of Drist series. This is book 4, technically, but kind of like the Star Wars, 4, 5, and 6 are the first ones, and then they go back and tell the story of 1, 2, and 3. This is book 5, The Empire Strikes Back of the Crystal Shard. Legend of Drist. Crystal Shard was book 1. Book 2, Streams of Silver. We're hanging out with these guys again, and I'm excited for it. I want to have fun fantasy. I want to have some more fun with fantasy. So like I was saying, sometimes I got to get an audiobook to actually read the books that I want to read for me personally. And that's what I did. Army of the Sphinx was on sale through Audible. I found it for about $6 or $7. It was like the big summer sale, and I grabbed it. So I've already downloaded it. Can't wait to read it after I knock out a couple of these other books that I've been working on. Finishing the Wool trilogy. Always nice to finish a series. This is a buddy read hosted by Scott from Book Invasion. If you check out his channel, all the details are there. We're 2 books in, so you may not want to start, or you may just want to be careful for spoilers and catch up. It's up to you. I don't mind if you catch up with us. But I enjoyed book 1 and book 2. Book 1 more than book 2. Book 2 was good, but I feel like it ended kind of weakly. So excited for what book 3 has to offer, and want to read it as well. I need to start putting these up there. All right, so I can put those books up there. Berserk, Volume 2. This is deluxe edition. I have 1, 2, and 3 in the deluxe editions. Kind of sort of a reread for me. I haven't read the whole series, but I've read this one. And just enjoying being in this world. Unfortunately, Kentaro Miura passed away recently, and man, he's going to be missed. Wonderful, wonderful mangaka. Wrote some great stories. That's really what it is. He was a fantastic storyteller, fantastic artist, and I'm so glad that I can have something so beautiful to house his work. And I can't wait to read more of, finish what I haven't read and reread the stuff that I have. So I'm going to work on this a lot this month and move on to the 3rd volume, which I also have. And I need to buy, I think 4 through 7 is what they have out in this deluxe edition right now, and they'll probably finish them up eventually. So I don't know if if you've been around the channel for a while, you know that I like to put my TBR kind of up here, so you guys can see when I take a book off the TBR stack that I'm done with it, and I've read it. So if ever you see that in the back of a video, that's what that is. It's a TBR stack for the month. James Monroe, this is, After Madison was Monroe. He's the 5th president of the United States. What I do know from Madison's perspective, he was a friend and sometimes rival. He did learn a lot from Thomas Jefferson. He was a pretty well-respected military hero in the War of 1812, and I believe also in the Revolutionary War. Considered a very well-liked president, but died broke and bankrupt. So interesting to see how he got there. Starting to come to realize that presidents were not either had a really hard time with their finances, because Washington, Jefferson, Madison to an extent, and Monroe were all broke when they died. The reason for Madison being broke was because his stepson really had a lot of issues, and he was spending a ton of money to help his stepson, but he didn't have a ton of money coming out of the presidency anyway. And when his son was racking up $20,000 of debt, kind of really hurt his family finances, and he had to borrow a lot of money at the end of his life, when he probably shouldn't have had to. So interesting to see how that all goes down, and really excited to get to another presidential biography. And last but not least, gonna finish The Dark Tower. I mean, mostly. You still got books like this, which are side stories that I'm not going to read this go around, but my next read through of The Dark Tower I'm going to. I also have over here, where you can't see, the graphic novels as well. But this is, I'll have book 1 through 7 read, and these are all, I've got all the illustrated versions now. Weirdly enough, I've got 1 through 4 in trade paperback, and then 5, 6, and 7 in hardback, which I don't love hardback as much. Kind of changed the style of the book when they got to 5, 6, and 7. I really, really liked the old style, but I mean, you can't keep making stuff look vintage just because I want it to look the same. They weren't all made at the same time. They were written, I think, like 20 years it took for him to finish this series. So excited to finally finish it and be here for the tower. And join my friends in the at the tower. So cool. All right, guys. Good night. I'm going to edit this video and try to get it out by tomorrow, and hopefully have as good a month in August as I did in July. Played a little bit too much video games, but read a bunch of good books, and happy to share some of those with you in some reviews in the very near future. Please subscribe if you want to see those reviews, and if you want anything else, click on my channel and check out some past reviews or magic explanations or anything that you might be interested in, because there's a lot of content there. Over 100 videos and 2 years of content. So having a lot of fun with BookTube, still enjoying it even many years into doing it. So talk to you guys later. Love you. Bye.